It was on the highway close Phoenix, Arizona. How I implemented completely driverless cars might be rather a remote vision. And how was since our Google Waymo robotaxi seemed incompetent of outgoing how highway. Google leads the racing at the time and for the history 6 months has been offer a robotaxi facility, Waymo A, to a choose few previous proponents in and about the Phoenix outskirts of Chandler. Our at first trip in Waymo took us via the peaceful commuter gateway, wherever traffic is rare and drivers so campy. There, the minibus, adjusted out in a cell of sensors and top-definition cameras, executed really dramatically, processing lightly cunning leftward turns, spot some way users and retarding downward as it gone a high school. Time a Google engineering sat over the tire, she never intervened and quickly we weakened and forgot how we were efficaciously creature managed by a robotic. Later, we hitched a trip in Sean Metz, one of a few 100 original inhabitants choose as customers of Waymo A. He said he and his woman utilized the facility for their week store, nights out and in places in bounded parking lot. We're hoping to go of a couple vehicle to a vehicle domestic ultimately and upbeat the technique might get us down there, he told. But as we led on the highway on the 20-min trip to his office space, things began to go incorrect. As we close our output, down there was a continuous link of traffic to our order. An energetic humane motorist would perhaps include squeezed above and done it to the output alley, but the robotic, that cannot surpass the rate range, was more than careful. The car skipped how output and the following one up eventually outgoing the highway. And while we were behind on the commuter gateway, it emerging to freeze over at a intersection wherever it necessary to rotate leftward through traffic. Following a time, the engineering over the tire had to get above and full the rotate. Mr. Metz said how in his expertise there was a really uncommon incident. However, it serviced as an figure how the Waymo independent drive technique, wide mind to be front of its competitive environment, yet as necessary to be exquisite. It is comprehensible, yet, how the framework is programmed to be ultra-cautious. Following all, fair a few miles off, else personality driving car annihilated a foot in an crash in March 2018, that shook trust in independent technique. The car belonged to Uber, one of Waymo's big rivals, and it plowed in a female enterprising a bicycle through a way close Arizona Country College. The ideally way and weather facility linked inhospitable regional officials include the Phoenix region, one of the planet's guideline locations for test independent vehicles. At first, down there was slight opposition, but regional reporter Ryan Randazzo told the crash had shocked social trust. To include and crash how was the accurate type of item how these cars were imaginary to be capable to hinder very rattled human beings' nerves, he told. Or I surely listen a lot more than feedback loop of human beings in the region who are not convenient in these tests departure on in their society. Clem Wizard, food officer at Waymo, acknowledged the Uber crash had driven household how top the stakes were in the racing to construct personality driving cars, but tense his business was creature scrupulous in its test. We include 10 millionth miles on social roads, collection these various scenarios, he told. Or later we as well use modeling wherever we tell, hey, there's a cunning position. Which if the car is upcoming 10 miles per time more rapid? Which if a bike is swerving in us? However, in enormous sums creature nested by both of technique companies such as Google and conventional vehicle makers, down there are several courageous forecasting of while the micro-robots will be capable to get to the way out of a humane security motorist. Ken Washington, Wade's head technique official, said his business's wide independent drive program would supply results in a pair of year. He told, among now and 2021, we're departure to use how training in a way how allows us to ultimately get how security motorist out of the framework on choose means of communication. In the UK, the Chancellor, Philip Hammond, has as well pledged how true driverless cars will be on the roads by 2021. Waymo has already acquired permit to work out of a motorist in a bounded region close Google's Mount type staff, in California. but any experiments in completely independent vehicles are potential to get location by rigorously controllable facility for year to go. Myra Blanco, a investigator at the Virginia Technology Transportation Institution, in the U.S., told we would perhaps see driverless cars in geo-fenced areas in 2 to 5 years, but she was far more than skeptical on complete automate. How tool departure of the mountains, village roadways, all the way to the town, how is departure to get a slight bit much longer, perhaps potential a pair of many decades off, she told. Though later, down there will be actual problems in mix the micro-robots, the humane drivers and pedestrian traffic on the identical gateway. Far of the neat roads of Arizona, I stood in the transportation author-believer Walmer at the feverish intersection external Holborn Pipe Plant, in centre London. He sharpened out how pedestrian traffic would include no indecision in walking out in front line of driverless cars, knowledge they were programs to halt, and the outcome would be jam. One day you set the guideline how driverless cars include to efficaciously cringe to any foot in the road, and pedestrian traffic start to find out how, later the entire balance sheet of force in our gateway will changing, he told. This conception fair doesn't pull through the concept of blended use gateway. The micro-robots are upcoming to our roads, but they are yet nerve new drivers in a lot to find out. For all the warnings how millions of drive jobs could be automatic out of life, it looks as although humans will remain over the tire for year to go.